Good morning. Week 8 NFL DFS. Uh, don't know how to kick this one off, which outside of it being a brutal week, it seems we've got Bye-Mageddon. We've got 6 teams on bye: Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, Lions, Raiders, Jaguars. Oh my! We've got backup quarterbacks galore. I mean, it is just absolute chaos out there. And also, we're celebrating National Tight End Week, so nobody else I'd rather spend National Tight End Week celebrating with than Joel Wirth. Joel, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, like we were talking before the show, if there was ever a Sunday, NFL Sunday afternoon to get some yard work done, go shopping with the wife, this is it, man. This is an ugly afternoon schedule. Only 3 games with lines less than 6.5 points. It is not pretty out there. So actually 4 now because that Chicago game came way down. But it's an ugly slate this week.
Yeah, we got a lot of heavy touchdown favorite teams, a lot of injuries, and I feel like we're going to have more pouring in as we go through the show. So we're going to get through this together.
Yeah.
As always, if you need us to pray over your fantasy football lineups, this is the week for it. Dropping in, we'll do that for you. Every week here, Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, phone with a friend, whatever. Just to promote the show a little bit. We got 7 games in the early window and 3 in the late window, and we're going to kick this game off with one that already pissed me off. I'm going to pull up the solver here. The Chicago Bears go on the road to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson is practicing all week, it seems. Everything's fine, and then when the going gets tough, he's got to sit this one out. So somehow the Ravens are still a favorite. I do not agree with that, but Joel, if you want to kick us off while I pull up the solver here for Bears and Ravens.
Yeah, this game is probably going to set a record for the biggest line move of all time, both on the over-under and the line. This game yesterday, even after the Lamar Jackson news came out, was 49.5 over-under and 7.5 for the Baltimore. It's now down to 45 and a 2.5 point Baltimore favorite this morning. So implied totals of 21.25 for the Bears, 23.75 for the Baltimore Ravens, led by Snoop Huntley. No Lamar Jackson. As you said, like this has been the weirdest week with just late injuries that came out of absolute nowhere. I mean, like AJ Brown played the entire game last week and then doesn't practice all week. Okay, fine. We get that news on Friday. Then Lamar, like you said, practices all week. And then we find out he was practicing on Friday in full as the scout team quarterback. What is that? And then he's ruled out. Now we get the late news on Drake London that he's questionable. Late news. We knew that Penix was kind of questionable. And then now all of a sudden it's going to be Kirk Cousins. This has been a weird week for late injuries. So is it weird that I'm still on Derrick Henry in this game? Like, I don't care. Bears run defense is terrible. I mean, he still went for like 120 against the Rams 2 weeks ago. He's had a week off to rest. He's 6K on DK. Yep. Generational price for Derrick Henry. I'm still playing him. I don't care. I think they're going to run the offense through him. And I don't think this is a Baltimore team or a Chicago team that's going to put up much resistance. So I'm still good with the problem with the Lamar injuries. It just demolishes Zay Flowers Valley and the tight ends. Like Andrews, I thought this was going to be the likely breakout week. I think that's just got to go by the wayside now. So, yeah, I'm leaning in heavily on Derrick Henry. I'm so good with him. I think that might be a little contrarian. I think everybody's just going to jump off this game. So I'm going to lean in, especially at that price. It's just kind of crazy to get Derrick Henry at 6K.
Yeah, Derrick Henry was going to set up to be the probably chalk running back of the week outside the top guys, which we'll get to. Yeah. He ends up, we get Pro Bowler Snoop Huntley. I don't want to disrespect the man, the myth, the legend here, but it's just really frustrating. This is a Ravens team that needs wins. It seemed like this was setting up for Lamar to come back, and he's not. I don't want to play Mark Andrews. I don't want to play Isaiah Likely. I'm going to look up there. It is National Tight End Week if you want to get a little frisky with it, but 3,600 for Mark Andrews on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, he's 5,900. We've seen Snoop Huntley. He ends up being like one of these guys who runs around a little bit, and that's where he will get his volume. I can't type in Snoop on this. It's got to be his legal name. 6K on FanDuel. So he's going to get played a little bit. And this is a week where we'll get into all 3 of these top running backs. You're going to have to find a way to pay down a little bit. And we've seen him kind of run around enough to where he will pay himself off. Hope you get 15, see if runs into the end zone, and then kind of go elsewhere. Chicago side, I'm curious if people play Caleb Williams. He was in a really good spot last week. Really doesn't do much. He just kind of does this Caleb Williams thing where he's very hot and cold. But DeAndre Swift came up with an injury. I think he's going to be okay. Kyle Monangai had a big game. This Chicago offense is really leaning into the run, and I think that's pretty interesting. Going up against this Ravens defense that seems to be getting some pieces back, but at the same time, this team's just not been very good on defense. So how do you feel about the Bears offense? And I will say this right now, I've bet the Bears to win outright. They're still a plus money team out here, especially on DraftKings, 3-point underdog. I don't understand that against a Ravens team that hasn't won shit outside of one game. So how do you feel about the Bears on this side?
The Ravens do get Roquan Smith back, so I think that dings the Chicago running game quite a bit. So yeah, I'm off of Swift this week. He's dinged up. It's only I think this game can stay close enough that they can't just like sit and let him run all game like they did last week with the Saints, because they had such a big lead the entire game. So I think Baltimore can at least keep this game competitive. And I think the Roquan Smith thing is a big deal. He hasn't been there I think he got hurt the same game that Lamar did, right? Wasn't it the KC game he got hurt?
Yep.
So that's a big deal getting him back. Their defense shouldn't be quite the sieve that it has been. They've kind of moved again. They did the same thing they did last year after the bye, moved Kyle Hamilton closer to the line of scrimmage. So I think it's going to be tough for the Bears to run today. I do like Rome Odunze. I think the passing offense is going to run through him. And I think I'm okay with Caleb, just because, speaking of national tight ends today, they're starting to get Colson Loveland involved in the offense, and Cole Kmet is out. So he's my kind of favorite pay down tight end of the week. I think he's 4K on DK.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Colston Loveland as well. And I really hate to be into the narrative thing, but there is some funky stuff with National Tight End Day to where you just got to play these guys.
You got to do it. Yep.
But I mean, him without Cole Kmet, I know he's out, but I mean, it's starting to lean that way. Anyways, he hasn't had the big game yet. I know he's underperformed compared to, his other rookie classmate, Tyler Warren, Harold Fannin, those guys. But it sets up, and DJ Moore is really just kind of fallen off of this offense. I mean, it's just not as prominent as he has been the last, year or two. So this game, I like Rome Odunze. I think if anything, I'd probably go there. I do want to look at his price again real quick before 6,300 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel he ends up being 7,300. I don't think much is going to get played out of this game. Any interest in the defenses at all?
There's a little bit, but they're kind of expensive. I'd rather play Cleveland at that price point. So just because Cleveland just gets a ton of sacks. So the New England offensive line isn't very good. So at that same price point, I'd rather go with the Browns. But again, I'm not super interested in the Ravens in this game. I'd rather play the Browns in that price point.
Yeah, it's just defense is pretty hard too. There's not really a punt defense, and then a lot of guys are pretty expensive, so you're just gonna have to.
Yeah, it's tough on I don't want to pay up on defense because salary is really tight this week, because you've got to play the chalk guys this week. You have to. You need to get as many in your lineup as you can. So
yeah, so we'll move on to the next game. Another injury riddled thing. We get the captain back. Kirk Cousins at home, a 7-point favorite going against this Dolphins team that is just falling apart. I mean, Tuanon is kind of running its course. Michael Penix got a knee bruise, I believe is what it was. And he hasn't been that great either. He's been pretty limited. I'm kind of curious.
He's been very good at home. He's just been terrible on the road.
Yeah, which feels like half the NFL quarterbacks right now.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I'm curious to see. Last time we saw Kirk Cousins, he looked terrible coming back from the Achilles injury. I'm curious to see if a little more time off makes things better for him. But how are you feeling about this game here?
Yeah, so another game that's come down on the over-under. This was 45 yesterday. It's now 44 this morning with the Cousins news and the Drake London questionable tag. So Miami 7-point dogs on the road. 18.5 is their implied total. Atlanta is 25.5. This is just a Bijan smash game. It's I was going to play a lot of Drake London, but that was really scary because, was this just going to be was this going to be just Bijan all day, every day? Especially with Tyler Algier dinged up. I love JT this week, but man, you can't really play both JT and Bijan and get a respectable lineup. So I've been kind of leaning Bijan on DK. So The interesting thing is Darnell Mooney with Cousins, because they had a hookup last year. So does he get back involved? Especially if London's going to be out, then Mooney becomes an interesting punt play.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I'm still kind of in on Drake London, even
if he plays. Yeah,
if he plays, which I don't know. You know, we have all these reporters who get paid a lot of money that apparently can't figure out anything, don't know nothing. It's just getting really frustrating. 7,800 when you talk about Darnell Mooney, Drake London, when Kirk Cousins was playing with him, I mean, that was like a mortal lock every single week as well. He just attached onto him. So 7,800 on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, he's 6,400. I'm a little interested in if everybody's going to play Bijan, the Kirk Cousins doubles.
Sure.
With Drake London. I mean, Kyle Pitts has actually had a little bit of a run, so I like him as well. 3,900 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, 5,300. I do have a question for you. I was going to wait until later, but I'm just going to get to this question now. Jonathan Taylor, Bijan, and Christian McCaffrey. Those are the three guys that we're going to be talking about. How would you rank them this week? I was going to wait until the end, but it's just I feel like we're going to keep talking about them.
Bijan, Taylor, CMC.
Okay, I feel.
But it's. I mean, Bijan JT is a coin flip.
Yeah, the thing with Jonathan Taylor is Tennessee's not going to punch back. So
is Miami?
Yeah, that's the same thing. But at the same time, I was going to talk about some Jonathan Taylor stats. Like, he scored 3 touchdowns against them the last 2 games. So
yeah, but he just doesn't catch passes. So I think that's the kind of tiebreaker, especially on DK. That's the tiebreaker to Bijan for me. Right,
and then on the Miami side, Jalen Waddle. I feel like it's the same thing with this guy constantly. He's very unreliable. If you play this game, I don't even know if you need to have a bring back. I mean, I guess you could play Achane. I don't know how you feel about Achane. I'd rather go elsewhere today. I really would. There's some other guys.
Yeah, it's at 7,300 on DK. I mean, would you rather save $500 and go to Javonte? Would you rather save some cash, save 700 and go to James Cook? It's tough to pay. It's tough to pay his price. I'll say that in a game where they could score like 7 points, and it's like his touchdown upside is probably capped. He'll probably get a bunch of yards, but like on FanDuel, I'm totally off of him just because I don't think this is a good game environment for them. Like you said, Atlanta's a much better team at home than they are on the road. So yeah, it's unless HN is scoring 2 touchdowns, I can't see him getting there above, the Bijans and the JTs. You have to save money somewhere. So it's tough to pay that 7,300 for a guy, who doesn't have multiple touchdown upside this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. There's just not much to like as far as the Dolphins team.
And he's the only thing I'm playing on the Dolphins side. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. I do want to look up the Falcons defense real quick because they've been playing pretty good. They're 3,500 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, they end up being a middle price defense. Falcons defense, I've talked about the last couple of weeks, has been very surprising. I mean, my entire lifetime they've sucked, and they've actually kind of put clamps up a little bit and done pretty well. So next game here, New York Football Jets. Aaron Glenn trying to be a genius, hiding his quarterback just for Tyrod to get ruled out. So we're going to get the Justin Fields experience again. Boy, oh boy. Going to Cincinnati, I think this game's honestly pretty interesting. So Bengals at home, a 5.5 point favorite. Joe Flacco, I mean, lifting the tide here with these wide receivers. Seems like the Bengals offensive players are alive as far as fantasy goes. So how are we going to kick off this bad boy of a game?
Yeah, this has moved up again. Another game that's moved up the line since the Fields news came out. The Bengals are now 6-point favorites this morning.
Yeah, that's just nothing matters.
The sharps in Vegas do not like Justin Fields. So 44.5 is the total over under in this game. So 19.25 implied for the Jets, 25.25 implied for Cincinnati. Brother, I love Jamar Chase this week. Sauce Gardner is out with a concussion. Their backup defensive backs have been very poor. It's not like Sauce Gardner's been that great this year, but again, you take him out of the lineup and you put a reserve in. That's tough. So yeah, I love I love Flacco as a punt QB. I love Chase. I like Higgins. I like everything about the Cincinnati offense. It's just I don't think the Jets can punch back. So they're just going to take their foot off the gas at halftime, and then does it become a Chase Brown game? And do I really want to pay for Chase Brown? That's kind of where, I really need the Jets I need to have confidence that Jets can punch back on the road, and I just don't have it. So that's why it's tough to get to the doubles. But Higgins price at 5,600.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if you want to do it, you want to chase that, no pun intended, go the Flacco Chase Higgins double. I don't mind that. It can save you some money and let you do some other fun stuff.
I don't think the Jets will be as incompetent as the Steelers defense was last week. I mean, Joe Flacco just kept throwing to Jamar Chase for 4 quarters, and nobody even thought about maybe adding another guy or kicking him in the shin or doing anything at all. I don't think he's going to put up the 50 burger or whatever it was, but I do think he's in a really nice spot here. I think Chase Brown is a fun tournament play that nobody is going to think about or play just because he's 5,400 on DraftKings and then on FanDuel. He ends up, if I could pull it up real quick, he ends up in this mid-tier, 6,900, right around Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Scatabo, these guys. So I like the Flacco doubles. I will say this, the Bengals have been terrible against the tight end this year. Mason Taylor, tight end for the Jets. He's questionable, like everybody else in life. He is questionable. So if you need a bring back, I guess that would be the one to bring back with. But I just both defenses are pretty bad. Are you any interest in Bengals defense at all?
Can you, in good conscience, start the Cincinnati Bengals defense?
I mean, you can do anything through Christ, but it's yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, it seems like Trey Hendrickson's going to play. I mean, Justin Fields will probably take sacks. So, but I mean, to sit there and roll up with Bengals defense with confidence, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, that's you are. You have more faith than I do. If you get to the Bengals defense.
I will say this: Bengals defense has been.
If there was a week to start them, this is it. Let's say that.
Bengals defense has been bad, but they've gotten turnovers. That has been the one thing that, for whatever reason, the bend and don't break. I mean, they will bend to where it feels like they're going to snap, but they will get turnovers. So,
sure.
I mean, Justin Fields could end up just falling into 5 sacks. I mean, he spins around, does something stupid. So, I think they're viable. Seems like we're both on the Joe Flacco stuff, and it just I don't know. Even though it's a nice setup for the Cincinnati, I'm just a little worried because it is the Bengals. It's Joe Flacco. We're coming in with supreme confidence that 40-year-old. So I don't know. I will say this: Justin Fields as a tournament play. I know it's been terrible.
I don't hate it. Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and scream for it, but I do think it's viable. So before we get to the next game, we do have a question in here. Dylan, appreciate you tuning in as always. Full PPR, start one quarterback: Fields, Mariota, Cousins, or Aaron Rodgers. We'll get to that one first. Let's see here. All of them are pretty brutal. Rodgers versus Green Bay is kind of interesting, even though the matchup's not great. God.
I can't, I think Rodgers is going to do well tonight because he's the kind of quarterback they struggle with because he's just, has 2 steps to get the ball out. I think his time to throw is like the 2nd or 3rd lowest in the league. Yeah. But they also play at such a slow pace that, it's hard to see him super going off. So, yeah, I would got a redraft team I split with my buddy that we've got the same decision. We picked up Cousins. We picked up Penix earlier in the week. We've got Fields and Purdy. So we've got the same decision. We're going with Cousins this week. So, yeah, I'm just going to go with the game environment and say Cousins.
That's probably the most responsible play. Because, Kirk Cousins, we've seen him be good. I think I know the Green Bay's defense is good, but Aaron Rodgers, he'll get into the end zone and want to throw it 3 times if they move it that well. But I think Cousins is the correct play, especially with Bijan. He can dump one off to Bijan. He takes it 90 yards, and Kirk Cousins gets credited for it. So I'm gonna lean Cousins as well, but I would also say Aaron Rodgers here if you don't feel comfortable with it, just because he's the most stable one. He's not the backup, and he doesn't suck like Justin Fields. So, and then the next one flex, Tucker Kraft or Big Bill against Kansas City, Corey Krosky Merritt.
You can't run against Kansas City, so yeah, I'm starting Kraft.
Yeah, I've started Kraft every single week, and he's done very well for me. So I'm going to lean Kraft as well.
JCM just doesn't catch any passes at all. He splits a lot of snaps. Again, it's a brutal run defense to go against. So yeah, this is Kraft pretty easily for me.
Yep. So good luck this week. We will be praying for you. I appreciate you tuning in as always, my man. So next game here, it ain't getting any prettier, but the Buffalo Bills coming back from the bye. Big favorites on the road going up against the Andy Dalton-led Carolina Panthers. So, boy, oh boy. There's some stuff I like in this game, but I'll let you kick this. Has the line moved since we talked? 20 minutes?
Yeah, this is Bills now 7.5, 47.5 point total. So 27.5 implied total for the Bills. That is not the highest of the week. Carolina's implied total is 20. And last year, that first game with Andy Dalton, they absolutely smoked the Raiders. So, yeah, I kind of like the Tet McMillan stuff in this game. And I know you've got to take on the Bills side. I'd like to know if Dalton Kincaid is playing because the Panthers are bad against tight ends. I'd love to know that, but he's questionable and seems on the wrong side of questionable. But, yeah, that's going to be an inactive I'll be actively monitoring this week.
Yeah, I've for the Bills stuff, I really like James Cook. I know Carolina statistically has been good against the running backs, but Bills have lost a couple games before the bye, and I think a lot of that was they just got away from running James Cook. So James Cook ends up being, and we've seen him have these just absolutely alpha dog games, 8,200. It's going to be pricey, but, I mean, he is just a tier under this, like, Bijan CMC as far as, like, falling into the box 2 or 3 times. So 6,700 on DraftKings. He might get played a little bit, and then Josh Allen, I think, is pretty viable as well. Dalton Kincaid has honestly been really stable this year for the most part as far as tight ends go. So if he plays, I'd be interested in him if you want to pair him with Josh Allen. The rest, Khalil Shakir has always been fine. I don't want to play Russian roulette with the rest of the wide receivers. Keon Coleman's not been good since week 1. But if you want to play some Bill stuff and bring Tedero McMillan back with you, I think McMillan can end up having a monster day too. So we've seen his target share with Bryce Young, who can't see over the offensive line, hasn't been really good. 6,400 for McMillan, 5,700 on DraftKings. So I like him as well. Xavier Leggett had a big game last week. I don't know where that came from. I don't expect it again. Everybody was really excited. Everybody had their baggies out for Jalen Coker. He had a big dud. I don't think anybody's going to play him this week, but any interest in the Panthers running backs, the Dowdle or Hubbard experience?
No, not really. I mean, I know the Bills are not great against the run, but it seems like a full snap split. So, yeah, it's tough. How are you getting ceiling with either of these guys? Like, they both be good. They're probably both viable for cash games just because they can both be okay, but I just don't see any ceiling. Yeah, so for tournaments, no, I'm not touching either of those guys.
Yeah, it would be Dowdle over Chuba for me. It was like 54-46. So, I mean, they are playing neck and neck. I mean, we saw Chuba out there getting full series, and I just don't. This entire slate feels like it's revolved around a couple running backs. I don't really want to show up with Rico Dowdle in a split timeshare. So
you're taking a squirt gun to a machine gun fight.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bills defense is pretty expensive here, 4,700 on FanDuel, and then DraftKings, they're going to be right up there too. So I don't
want to pay that much for a defense on the road this week, especially this week where it is like pricing is tight.
Yeah, and I was going to say Bills defense has not been good. I know people have this aura about Sean McDermott's defense. I mean, Sean McDermott sucks, and I think his defense has gotten worse each year. So, but I do like the Bills stuff. I think they come out here and kind of smash. I think the Panthers can give them a little bit of fight with Andy Dalton, but Bills, they've been reeling a little bit. I think they get back to the basics. I think it's a big James Cook game. So, next game here, 49ers on the road against the Texans. I don't know how the hell the Texans ends up a 2.5-point favorite after I've seen the offense or lack thereof. Whatever. No big cock Brock Purdy, so we get McCorkle again against the Texans defense that's been pretty tough. So some interesting stuff. We'll talk through the Christian McCaffrey part, but I mean, this game's a little goofy on paper, I feel like.
Yeah, this game, I bet this game earlier in the week when it was 2.5. I think the wrong team's favored. Now, every time I think that, I get kicked in the nuts and I go, all right, Vegas knows what they're doing. But so right now, the morning line, we've got the Niners 2-point dogs on the road. So 42 is the total. So implied totals of 20 for the Niners and 22 for the Houston Texans. A terrible offense missing its best offensive player and second best offensive player, maybe, in Christian Kirk. No Nico, no Christian Kirk. You're going to be relying on two rookies and Xavier Hutchinson against a very beat up injury-wise 49ers defense, but like Robert Saleh's got them playing really well. They completely shut down the Falcons last week. So, yeah, I just, it feels like the wrong team is favored here. McCaffrey had a monster week. Like, don't be fooled by again, it's National Tight End Day. That's like basically George Kittle holiday. Yep. So I think he's an absolute smash this week. Don't be fooled by the 0 last week. He was out there blocking his ass off in the run game. They just didn't have to throw, really. It was all Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, I like Kittle quite a bit this week. And then, again, I like McCaffrey, but he's more expensive than Bijan, and that's and it's tough. It's really tough to get them both in the lineup. So, tough sell there.
Yeah, McCaffrey, just the workload. I mean, he's top 5 running back and wide receiver as far as like usage goes right now. His workload is just absolutely insane. I am a little frustrated with Juwan Jennings. 2 weeks ago, he plays, he gets a goose egg, he comes out, he says every rib's broke, both feet are going to be amputated, and then last week he leads the team in stat percentage and all that stuff after being a decoy. So really frustrating. It's just all this injury stuff. I played Juwan Jennings 2 weeks ago with confidence. They didn't have any other wide receivers. Nobody reported that every rib in his body was broken. Nobody called. Nobody let me know. Double high ankle sprains. I just don't understand it, and it's getting really frustrating. But outside of that, I mean, Texans offensive line, they're playing Braxton Berrios over these Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, which I think is inhumane. I mean, he was getting I swear
that's a crime against humanity right there. That's Geneva Convention stuff.
Yeah, I mean, D'Amico Ryans needs to be arrested. I don't think he's a good head coach. And the offense, I thought it was bad last year. I think it's worse this year as far as scheme and stuff. They're not playing good players on the field. I want to bring up Dalton Schultz. He has been quietly very good, and we lean into the narrative. I mean, he's getting 98 yards. He's getting a lot of volume, at least 5 receptions each game, and he ends up kind of being their wide receiver 1, even though he's a tight end at the moment. So Noel will get played a little bit. I think he was on the field more than Higgins last week. Higgins ends up being just like this X receiver, gets forgotten about. 4,500 on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, he ends up being a 3,500 wide receiver, and he's going to be a guy who people will play to try to open up and get into some of these running backs. So I think it's fine. Woody Marks or Nick Chubb, any interest in either of those guys?
No.
Yeah, a lot of things I can do. I don't think I can do that running back tandem there. So I do want to look up Texans defense. Going to be middle of the pack right there with the 49ers. Honestly, I think both are viable. I think 49ers, even though all their pass rushers are hurt, the way this Texans offensive line has been,
Texans offense is so bad.
It is offensive football to watch. So, I mean, I do think that C.J. Stroud could get sacked a couple times. And like you said, Robert Saleh's got this team playing really well on defense, given how bad the injuries are. No Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, those guys. So I think that's about it for this game. Any interest in McCorkle before we get out of here?
It's so hard, man. Their ceiling is so limited, and if you assume that McCaffrey's getting at least one of their touchdowns, really, even if Kittle gets a couple, you're saying that they're going to get 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I just don't see any ceiling there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's
I'd rather play Flacco because I could there's a legit ceiling there. So
yeah, so $100 more. We've seen Mac. It's just a bad matchup for him. So I just think this game ends up kind of being a slog. Next game, like I said, it ain't getting much better. But the Cleveland Browns on the road going to Drake May and the Patriots, who are a touchdown favorite. This is it's really weird. Drake May has been the talk of the town. Everybody's really excited about him. And then we get to this slate where there's not a whole lot of reliable stuff, and it feels like nobody's talking about him. So I know the Browns defense has been good for the most part, but I just I don't know, man. It's just kind of weird to see.
Yeah, Cleveland 7-point road dogs here. 40.5 is the total. That is the lowest total of any game this week. So 16 3/4 implied for the Browns and 23 3/4 implied for New England. Last week we said Cleveland is probably going to end up being a really good home team and a really bad road team, and they're on the road this week. So no interest in anything on the Browns side. Pats, again, are you super excited to play anything here? Because Cleveland's, their defense is really good. So maybe, like Drake May has gotten there just solo unstacked. I'm okay with that. But then you got Daniel Jones in the same price point in a much better matchup. You got Flacco, like we talked about. You got Bo Nix in what should be a shootout. You got Caleb Williams in a better game environment. It's kind of tough to get to Drake May this week, even though he's been really good.
Yeah, I do like Stephon Diggs this week. He sets up more of a better player against man. That's what Browns defense runs a lot at the back end. So I think if anything, it'd probably be Stephon Diggs week. Hunter Henry, he's been fine. Drake May has gotten there without pulling anybody behind him.
Yep.
So if you want to play Drake May by himself, I think that's a fun tournament play. He can run around a lot. I mean, if you have, Myles Garrett and the gang chasing after you, he probably run around a little bit. So, not the best matchup for him. Either guy, Quinshon Judkins had 3 touchdowns. Kind of fluky. It wasn't Miami had like a weird turnover, and then he had 1 long run. But outside of that, Miami kind of bottled him up, even though he did get 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was not efficient at all. So he got a ton of volume, got 3 touchdowns, but they were all like point-blank touchdowns. None of them were long runs or anything. So, he was great for fantasy, but not a great day efficiency-wise.
Yeah, and then Ramondre Stevenson, it seems like he's going to be the lead back. They're playing a undrafted rookie over Travion Henderson. So if you were holding the Travion Henderson bag, sometimes you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. I think I'm folding the Travion experience at the moment. See if I can pick up those cards later. But it's been a brutal run out for him. And a team that Go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say, even Ramondre, like Cleveland's run defense is great. They're really good. So it's tough to start him this week.
Yeah. We'll get some news on David Njoku. I'm waiting on a phone call, waiting to see if anybody in Cleveland will let me know if he's playing or not. It'd be nice if they let me know if he did. Harold Fannin would end up being like a lot of the short stuff going up against this Patriots defense. Jerry Jeudy's really cheap. I'm not willing to do the Jerry Jeudy experience, but I do want to point out he is very cheap. $4,100 on DraftKings, $5,600 over on FanDuel. So, and then Dylan Gabriel, no thanks. A lot of things I'm willing to try in life. I'm not doing that. So, both defenses. I mean,
that's coming from the guy who was willing to start the Bengals defense this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty exotic with some of the stuff, but no thanks. Patriots defense ends up being the highest on FanDuel at $5K. I am not paying $5K for Patriots defense. Not on a slate where I have no money to begin with.
You almost have to build around and want to do that. So and I'm not building around defense.
Browns ends up being 3,900. This is a terrible week for defense. We talked about it earlier, and it's just like it's really hard. It feels like you're either punting to like the Saints, or you're just going to pay up and probably play a running back with it, which we'll get to. There's some better games on the horizon. It's not great, but it is getting a little bit better. But that's really about it on this game. This is just going to be one of these slogs. I think Drake May's fine. I like Stephon Diggs a little bit. Not enough to thought about flag planning him. I probably should. I'm going to jinx myself, but I'm probably going to lean elsewhere with Stephon Diggs this week. But next game, go ahead.
Just before we go, like Browns are my favorite punt defense this week. I don't think they're going to do great, but they get a lot of sacks, so they should put up some points. And I don't think New England's going to put up a ton of points. So I could see this game just getting really sloggy and being a 17-13 game or something like that.
Yeah,
Cleveland defense is paying itself off.
Yeah, it's just Cleveland was a little more competent on offense. I think they'd actually be a pretty solid and stable team, but they don't have quarterback, and then just everything else is a little goofy. So next game, this is the last game in the early window. The New York Football Giants blowing a 30-plus point lead in the fourth quarter to Bo Nix. Going on the road to the Eagles, who Giants beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago. I think the Eagles come back out for revenge and kind of just slap the piss out of New York here.
Yeah, so Eagles 7.5-point home favorites here. 44 is the total. 18.25 implied for the Giants. 25.75 implied for Philadelphia. Early in the week, I was playing the slate as two teams were just going to go scorched earth. One was the Ravens with Lamar coming back and off the bye. Obviously, that went to you know what. But I still love the Eagles this week. Revenge game from 18 days ago that they got whipped up by the Giants on the road. So they get them at home this week. We saw the emergence of the Philly passing game last week. Even though AJ Brown is going to be out, but like the Giants are also, they're going to be without Paulson, Devo, and Javon Holland. So their secondary is in really rough shape. So yeah, I think this is a smash game for Devonta Smith. I think it's a smash game for Dallas Goedert. Man, Saquon, I don't necessarily think it's his fault. I mean, they just can't run block. They're really missing Mekhi Becton, and now Cam Jurgens, their center, is going to be out. So tough to get to Saquon this week. Again, with so many of those top guys taking up so much salary, it's really tough to get to Saquon, even though I think it's going to be a good in-game environment for him. I don't think they can run block at all. So I'm not going to Saquon this week.
Yeah, I've playing him, I feel like a couple times this year, and I'm coming out to say I'm retiring from flag planning Eagles stuff because the opposite happens every single time. But Jalen Hurts ends up setting up really nice. And it's very simple. It's Devontae Smith, who is better than A.J. Brown this year. So now that A.J. Brown's out, we've seen Dallas Goedert. Every time one of these guys is out, they just ends up smashing. Dallas Goedert has been awesome even without that stuff. He's gotten a lot of schemed up touchdowns in the red zone when they're not.
He went off against the Giants 2 weeks ago too, and they're bad against tight ends. So
yeah, so National Tight End Week, I'm going to keep saying that. It sets up really nice for Dallas Goedert, and I think he's a great play this week. He's probably the best tight end play on the slate, honestly, as far as my viewpoint of it. Giants stuff, Jackson Dart, he's fine. He's going to run a lot. I think Darius Slayton is back, but I don't really think that means much. The Jackson Dart experience has been really weird because has he been good? Yes. Do I think it's a little gimmicky and sustainable? I'm not really sure. He runs a lot, but it's not like he is thrown across the yard to everybody. And then Cam Scatterbo, it's not really a great matchup for him. But I just really think that the Eagles will roll here. So
yeah, you can't run on the Eagles when Jalen Carter's in there. I mean, that's the only time they've given up big games, which was opening week to Javonte Williams and 2 weeks ago to Scatterbo, was when Jalen Carter didn't play. So I'm not touching Scatterbo this week.
Yeah, and I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson's not even cheap enough to think about. Darius Slayton, both tight ends for the Giants, Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger, have kind of gotten there. Not that I'm willing to play them, but I just want to point that out that they've been present. So it's just
and Philly's very good against tight ends.
Yeah, so it just I don't know. I don't know if I need to bring back for any of that stuff as far as if you're playing the Eagles stuff, but I mean, Jalen Hurts, they just go back and forth. 1 week they're a run-heavy team. The next week they're the most pass-happy team of all time. So my main thing here is Dallas Goedert. I really think he sets up nice, and he's probably the best play as far as tight ends go on the slate. So
I'm just hoping that they figured it out, that they realize internally now that they can't run the ball and that this needs to be a pass-based offense.
Yeah,
I mean, fantasy-wise, this is how this has got to play out.
Yep, I agree as well. So any interest? Eagles end up being a middle of the pack defense. You playing them or the Giants this week?
I kind of like the Eagles. What's their price on DK? They're a little spendy, right?
3,200.
Yeah, they're right behind the Bills. Yeah, I guess I do like the Eagles at that price.
It's like we talked about. There's not any. It feels like you were middle price and up as far as these defenses go. So, and then Giants, like I said, I think Eagles kind of stomp them. And
agreed.
So that is it for the early window. Like I said, if you got any questions, make sure to drop them in. Subscribe. Appreciate everybody tuning in. 3 games left, and it gets a little bit better from here on out for the most part. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road going to New Orleans. This game's going to get pushed and paced a lot, I feel like. The Saints have been they're not a great team, but I feel like they've been holding their own for a bad team. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Bucky Irvin. Sets up kind of pretty straight and narrow for the Tampa stuff, and then the Saints, it's really Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. So is this a game that you are attacking this week with how things have set up for the rest of the slate?
Yeah, very much so. Morning line's got Tampa as a 4-point road favorite here, 46-point total, so 25 implied for the Bucks, 21 implied for New Orleans. I do like the Olave side. It took a while, but he finally got into the end zone, got a couple last week, so he's getting a ton of volume. So I do like Olave this week as a bring back to basically everything on the Tampa side. I like Baker at QB. I like Rachaad White as a pay down-ish running back who you're not paying down too far for. I like Tez Johnson as a pay down wide receiver, and I obviously like Ibuka this week. So because he gets a ton of, I think Ibuka is going to be a lot of my cash game lineups. So yeah, I like pretty much everything that's healthy on the Tampa side.
Yeah, it just ends up being pretty straight and narrow. The one guy I do want to bring up, and I promise this is not national tight end propaganda. It is K. Dotton. Yep. We've seen these things without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He has ended up having like some monster games. So I do think that he is viable. Like I said, that is not – I would have talked about him if it was not National Tight End Week, but I do want to throw him out there. Honestly, Saints side, Alvin Kamara has just not been good enough fantasy-wise, so I don't have any interest. If I was going to do a stack, I'd bring back Chris Olave with him. Baker's been really good. It's him, Ibuka, probably – K. Dotton for me over Tez Johnson, but I don't blame anybody if you want to play Tez Johnson as kind of the cheap thing. And then Rachaad White as well. I think you could play him with some Baker stuff too. Rachaad White has quietly been really good this year compared to what he has been the last couple years. So Buccaneers, another defense that is really high up there. Saints are bottom of the pack. They're 2,300 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, they are the cheapest defense on the slate. So any interest in playing Saints defense today? I guess Bucks I think is viable, but I mean Saints for a punt at 3K on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean if you're just okay with just saying I just want the cheapest defense because I need to play the cheapest defense to get all the guys I want, I'm okay with it. I don't think it's going to turn out well, but
right.
If you're just willing to take a zero at basically one position just to save that salary, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I tend to agree as well. So next game here, 2 left. The Tennessee Titans, the abysmal Mike McCoy-led Tennessee Titans. On the road, just going up 69 in a couple hours to face Indianapolis, who are 14.5-point favorites here. Jonathan Taylor, the last 2 games against Tennessee, 102 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then 218 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
seems good.
Jonathan Taylor is a guy who has scored 3 touchdowns 3 times already this season. He is rightfully so, the highest paid or highest ranked running back. FanDuel, he is over 10K. It gets very hard to fit him in, but I mean, for what he's done this season, he seems like he's probably the best play on the slate. He's 9,500 on DraftKings. Are you getting to Jonathan Taylor this week with how you think this game might run out?
Yeah, so we've got Tennessee 14.5-point road dogs here, 47.5-point total, 16.5 for the implied total for the Titans, and 31 implied total for the Colts. Colts had the highest implied total this week. Tennessee has the lowest implied total this week. So, no dead cat bounce for the Titans under Mike McCoy, not unsurprisingly. I love Taylor this week. It's just when there's a $700 difference on DK between him and Bijan.
Tough.
But you got to play some, right? You can't. The guy's got 10 touchdowns through 7 weeks. You can't not play that at all. So, Taylor, kind of like Daniel Jones too. If this game is just going to absolutely kind of go nuclear, there's obviously nothing on the Tennessee side. You cannot play anything on that side. But no. I like Daniel Jones. I like Taylor. The problem, I was kind of into Pittman, but now Josh Downs is back, so that kind of vultures a little bit of his target share. So it's tough to get there on the receiver side. Tyler Warren's a nice play, but he's really expensive, and there's just other guys I'd rather play this week. I'd much rather play Kittle than Tyler Warren. So, Warren's tough to get to, but all those guys being there does make me interested in Daniel Jones as a quarterback play.
Yeah, the thing with the Daniel Jones stacking these wide receivers is if they're not getting pushed, I mean, if he sits for the entire fourth quarter, I mean, that ends up being just kind of a...
That's my concern, is this game just gets out of hand.
Yeah, I do like Tyler Warren. I do like Daniel Jones, and I think you can play Daniel Jones with Jonathan Taylor. So,
yep. I think that's a nice contrarian option if you want to, kind of try and get a little different with your Jonathan Taylor teams.
Yeah, and then Colts defense, they're going to be top of the charts. So, like you said, Calvin Ridley's out for Tennessee, so it's Ivanor and DK as far as the wide receivers go. Tajay Spears has kind of worked into Tony Pollard's workload, but I don't see it on that side. I don't think there's anything to play. It's just Tennessee Titans is offensive football, so and not in good offense. I just mean absolutely offensive to watch. So, last game. This is probably the game that a lot of people are going to get into. Dallas Cowboys on the road going up against the Broncos. Big comeback win last week. Probably going to be a shootout. I mean, I could see guns firing from both sides here. So, kick us off this last game, Cowboys at the Broncos.
Yeah, we get Dallas 3.5-point road underdogs here. 52 is the total. That is the highest of the week by quite a big margin. I think the second highest is 48. So, yeah, this is the biggest implied total of the week. So 24.25 implied for Dallas, 27.75 implied for the Denver Broncos. You name it, I like it in this game. I like both quarterbacks. I like all the receivers. I don't care about Patrick Surtain. I think Dallas can kind of manipulate. I don't mind CeeDee Lamb at all because you can put him in the slot and keep him away from Surtain. So I like CeeDee Lamb a lot. A little bit worried about Pickens getting shadowed, but I think they can move it around enough to to keep him from getting isolated on Surtain. So I'm not too worried about that. I like both running backs. Honestly, I like three running backs because I like Javonte. I like J.K. Dobbins. Dallas is really bad giving up receiving yards to running backs. So I think R.J. Harvey is in play as a super punt running back if you need to save some salary.
Yeah, we do also get the revenge narrative for Javonte coming back, going up against Denver this week too. So, I mean, Bo Nix last week scored 30 points and brought absolutely nobody along for the ride. I mean, I came on here, thought he was a great play, played Cortland Sutton, and it's just like,
I thought Sutton was a great play, and that was really disappointing.
Yeah. I don't know. Broncos, I just can't figure out if this is a good team or a bad team. The defense, when they've played some good offenses, they have given it up. I know a lot of people are afraid of this Broncos defense. They are good, but Cowboys offense just absolutely whooped ass. And I mean, Dak's been really good. CeeDee Lamb is going to be a smash. And like you said, he gets moved around, so you're not getting the Surtain treatment from him. I think J.K. Dobbins is in a good spot. I just worry that Sean Payton has been abysmal as far as his usage with these running backs. And that's been watching Sean Payton call some of these Broncos offense games. It's just been really frustrating to watch. It seems like the run game never has any momentum or juice or J.K. Dobbins will run for 6 yards and he'll run them one time in 10 plays. And then they'll just keep throwing Bo Nix out there. So Broncos side, Troy Franklin is pretty interesting as probably a tournament play. 4,200 on DraftKings and FanDuel. He ends up being 5,400. And then Mims, it's going to be the same thing. 5,200 on FanDuel and then DraftKings 3,900. So if you want to pick one of those guys, I don't know, man. Any interest in Evan Ingram? I mean, I came on here last week. Evan Ingram, he's doing better. And it's like, no, he's not.
I'm going to say that this is the one game I don't want to go to the tight ends on National Tight Ends Day because I just think both teams have better options. I think Ferguson's volume is really he scored 2 touchdowns last week, but volume was not there. So I'm kind of getting off of him now that CeeDee Lamb is back. And Ingram is just he's fine, but I mean didn't they have another backup tight end touchdown? He's just not a priority in the offense. On National Tight Ends Day, these are kind of the two guys I do not like. I'd much rather go with Kittle, Goddard, the guys we've talked about, Kincaid if he's active. Those are the guys I want to get to.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. So this is the game that everybody's going to play, like we said. I mean, the Dak stuff's pretty simple. It's probably going to be, CeeDee Lamb. I still like George Pickens. I'm not really afraid of him. I think that, like you said, they move up enough. And then Bo Nix, I don't have a strong lean on who to pair him with. I think he probably play him by himself and get away with it.
Yeah.
Cowboys secondary, I think they announced more people are hurt, so they have absolutely nobody on the back end of the team. So I think that is about anything else on this game.
No, again, this is going to be the game that I think everyone gravitates to. Again, it seems like it's always the Dallas game, but that's what happens when you've got an elite offense and a terrible defense. So, but yeah, and again, it would have happened last week if it wasn't for the Daniels injury, and then Dallas basically took their foot off the gas in the second half. So even though they scored a ton of points, but they just weren't pushed, and the Washington stuff ended up not getting there, which is kind of a bummer. But again, these Dallas games are always the games you win. But again, if you want to get contrarian, if you need to do a late swap, you probably need to go to the other games because this game's gonna have a lot of ownership.
Yeah, or just honestly, if you want to play the running backs, that'd be their way to get off a little bit of the ownership. Yeah. So that should do it for this game. I don't think we're playing any of these defenses. Just no. So that is it for the main slate here for Week 8. Before we go, we'll get to our flag plants here, the most important portion of the show. So, Joel, if you want to kick us off with your first flag plant for Week 8.
Yeah, we talked about it before the show. I'm going to cheat and say George Kittle. It's National Tight Ends Day. It's National George Kittle Day, basically. I don't think there's any way they don't get him a touchdown. Yeah, I think he's in a really good spot. Again, don't be frightened off by the 0 last week. He was very involved. And again, Houston's run defense is really good. So I don't think you're going to be able to just lean on McCaffrey the entire game like they have been. I think you're going to have to get Kittle involved in the passing games. My first flag plant will be George Kittle.
Right there with you. It just seems a little too obvious, but especially coming off a goose egg, it just seems like it's the perfect setup for him. So my first flag plant for this week is James Cook. Bills need to win to kind of keep up with the AFC if they want to try to get the number 1 seed. And I just think they're going to lean back to what they got away with before when they were losing. So James Cook coming off the bye, I think it sets up really nice. And I think people are going to be scared a little bit. Carolina run defense has been good, but I mean, when Bills were winning, James Cook was a big portion of it. So James Cook will be my first flag plant, and then your last one here for Week 8.
Well, you said you weren't going to the Eagles anymore, so I will, just because somebody's got to represent the Eagles. I'm going to take Devonta Smith. Like we talked about the Giants secondary being in shambles because of the injuries, no A.J. Brown. And I think they're going to want to go scorched earth. I don't think they're going to take their feet off the gas in this game at all. I think they realize that they need to, if they're going to win games, they need to do it through the passing game offensively. So I think it's going to be a big day for Jalen Hurts, and I think it's going to run through Devonta Smith.
Sounds good with me. I was gonna cheat and come back to say Dallas Goedert, and then I just realized that I was not going to flag plant any more Eagle stuff. So I'm gonna get a little off the rails here. I'm gonna go Stephon Diggs. I like it. Pretty interesting spot going up against Cleveland. I think a lot of people are afraid of Stephon Diggs, but he's been gradually kind of getting there too. So we like Drake May a lot. We play him every week except for this week, and he's going to get somehow forgotten about. So I'm going to lean into Stephon Diggs. I think it's a really good matchup going up against the Browns and just that man coverage there. So that will do it for Week 8. Before we head out here, Joel, let the world know where they can find you.
Yeah, at the Joel Wirth on the Twitter and on the Bluesky. And you can find me usually, we had some technical issues this week, but with Mark Salino previewing the Thursday night game on the Statement Games channel.
There you go. Make sure to check out all of Joel's work. I do that every week. Sit there, Wirth, and check out Joel's work. It is phenomenal. So got that straightened out. I'm on the Twitter machine at Jameson Rules, on the Bluesky, on the YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody tuning in, checking out the show. We'll be back next week for Week 9, celebrating what hopefully is a big tight ends week. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Until next time, we will see you next week. Peace out.